begging for a cup of coffee in a white man's restaurant.
Who taught you to hate the color of your skin? Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to? So much so that you don't want to be around each other. No, before you come asking Mr. Muhammad, does he teach hate? You should ask yourself, who taught you to hate being what God gave you?
Most of us blacks, or Negroes as he called us, really thought we were free without being aware that in our subconscious, all those chains we thought had been struck off were still there. And there were many ways where what really motivated us was our desire to be loved by the white man. Malcolm meant to lance that sense of inferiority. He knew it would be painful. He knew that people could kill you because of it, but he dared to take that risk.
He was saying something over and above that of any other leader of that day, while the other leaders were begging for entry into the house of their oppressor. He was telling you to build your own house.
We back at it, making a few adjustments, cutting it close. Okay, we're a minute or two late, but, you know, we rushing from the city. We got our first snowfall, and a brother had to make it the best way he can, and he had to walk the dog. Where am I making it from, you say? I'm making it from RPC Computing, 1741 East 71st Street in Chicago, 773-966-4457. For all your computing needs, repairs, upgrades, and consultations. We also do printing. So give us a call. We're open 6 days a week, 7 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. Wednesdays 9 to 5 and Saturdays 9 to 1. Would love to make you a customer. Got that out the way. That's how we pay the bills around here, right? But now we want to get into the show. I'm trying to adjust a few things, so be a little patient with me. Okay, I got some sound over here. Don't want no feedback. To the people on the Facebook side of life, I know y'all love it over there on Facebook. It's easy, it's convenient, but the YouTube side is just as easy, just as convenient. We post a link over there. If you want to see the fullness of the show, which includes, sometimes we're showing visuals. You can hear the audio, but, you know, you can see the full show presentation on YouTube with video that we may show or web pages we may bring up. It's just a different experience. And we would love for you all to come over and subscribe and click the notification bell and be interactive. The number is posted up on the screen, the email address. Well, we got some gifts tonight. Tonight's show is called From Lynch to Obama. And we're speaking of Willie Lynch. If anybody wants a copy of the Willie Lynch letter, which we'll be going over tonight, then I will send it to you. Send me a request at the show 1965 at yahoo.com, and I will send you the PDF file of the Willie Lynch letter. So tonight, this show is kind of prompted. I have been thinking about doing the show because, you know, sometimes we just put it back on us. and we had Byron Allen was on the Breakfast Club. A lot of people don't remember Byron Allen. He was a comedian back in the day, probably around the same time that Eddie Murphy was on his rise to fame. And but Eddie took off, and Byron, he had a few things going, and then he was trying to do some things with some comedy shows and things like that, and all that kind of fell to the side. So he was on the Breakfast Club talking about the plight of black people, and usually a lot of times when he just recently got purchased the Weather Channel for like $300 million. So he talked a little bit about that, and he really got deep and hit on a lot of points about his conversations with Coretta Scott King and some things that he learned talking to her, speaking with her. And a lot of it wasn't mind-boggling, but often we don't sit down long enough to actually figure out what was the plan for us coming out of slavery. Now, the Willie Lynch letter, and we all always debate this, is it an authentic letter? And I always say, whether it's authentic or not, the content that is inside the paper, it feels authentic. The mindset is authentic from what it took to totally destroy us. Removing us from our homeland was just one part of the process. Supposedly, this letter was written December 25th, 1712, which was that 50-some years before America got their independence. But slavery had been going on for about 150 years prior to that. So this was supposed to be on the James River in Virginia that this speech was supposedly given to some of the farmers that were having issues with controlling their slaves. Now, some of the big things, and that's how you know how evil slavery was. They already knew that certain aspects would have to be beaten out of a man. If a man knows his origin and where he came from, like a lot of the original slaves that were captured and brought here, depicted like in Roots as far as Kunta Kinte, that if you're born knowing freedom, it's hard for your mind to accept slavery. The 12 Years a Slave movie was based on that also, where he was captured and put into slavery, but he already knew freedom. And so this mindset was one of the things that Willie Lynch presented to everyone on. These are some of the things that you're going to have to make sure that you get rid of when it comes to breaking a slave. They would pit us, anything you can find to pit slaves against each other. This was like the first and simplest method, whether it's shades of color, tell one he's a little bit smarter than the others, manipulate them with sex, bigger slaves compared to smaller slaves. We're going to take these big slaves, we're going to make them fight each other, and we'll reward them with sex. So it just became just a whole system of stuff. I actually wanted to read a part, but a lot of times, Denzel read this part in the movie, but it was actually a part taken from the book itself. So here we go. Well, basically, I'm looking through here, and I should have probably had, I didn't have enough time to separate it the way I wanted it. But it basically talks about, from the line in the movie, Denzel said, take the biggest, meanest slave, and beat him within an inch of his life. Tar and feather him and stand him between two horses facing in opposite directions. Whip those horses where they run in opposite directions and tear the black male apart. This has to be done in front of the other slaves. Hey, Brandon. So after this slave is torn apart, take all the remaining male slaves and beat them within an inch of their life. So they already knew we had to destroy the male. Then they treated the female. She's already seen the destruction of the male. So when she has a male child, she will coddle him and try to protect him from the master and from the evils of the world. So you see a lot of that going on today. But she would take her daughter, who they wanted to change the mindset process, so they darted upon the female slaves. Even though she was a slave and still got treated a certain way, they were able to manipulate her a little more. Her spirit may not have been that much stronger because of the children and her innate nature to protect the children. A lot of women would kill their children rather than be slaves. I'm really looking forward to the Harriet Tubman movie and for people to get a visual. But I tell people, if you want a real visual of slavery, there's a documentary called Goodbye Uncle Tom. It shows the whole process of breaking slaves, the process they went through when they were brought here, the process they went on in the Middle Channel, force feeding the slaves and things like that. But there was an interesting part in the letter, and I always like this part because it talks about where one of the things, and I think we still suffer from this, and that's why I think everybody should read the letter. It talks about creating a multiplicity type of system that makes it hard for you to get any leeway into the world. It's a lot of crossbreeding and contaminating the bloodline. Basically, they would do a lot with us as if we were, well, they considered us chattel. So the breaking process of a slave was similar to the breaking process of a horse, of a mare. So by them creating this multiplicity level and changing the order of things, they start putting the female kind of in a superior position to the male. Now, they didn't want to destroy a whole lot of slaves to get this point across, so they instituted rules. If you can't read, then you can't really escape us, because you don't really know how to read maps. You don't know the lay of the land. Your mind becomes unconscious because it's not being fed new material, so your mentality is not growing. So this is one of the things that they did with the slaves. And like I say, it's all in the letter. And there's a part I'm looking for now. This is only about 4 pages long. But it talks about what could happen because of is this an orbiting cycle? Orbiting cycle means a thing turning on a given path. So they took us away from our origin and put us on a different path. But in nature tries to correct itself. So I'd say what we're in now is kind of a corrective cycle, or we're trying to be in some type of corrective cycle. But everything we do is tied into these people, and that's the way they want it. So the reason you never got any type of reparations or anything because, well, you've been convinced that you're an American. You've been convinced that the history of your people means nothing. Byron Allen had this one part, and he called it the 4Ds, and it talked about how they use these 4Ds to get over on us. He says first, hold on here. I hate bifocus. I can tell y'all that much. See, I got to look through all that, and I got paperwork right in front of me, right? The 4Ds. First, they dismiss you. Hang on somewhere. Ain't anybody really hearing that. And as you keep persisting, then they discredit you. Then they demonize you. And then they destroy you. When we came out of slavery, the term racism really didn't exist prior to us coming out of slavery. Or it wasn't used. They were like, y'all niggas, we good white folks. So we went from shackles to free men. But they took away the monetary base, the economics of it all. We got 300 plus years of free labor out of you people. Now, you went from being a slave, an asset, to competition, a liability. And we know y'all want some payback for these 300 years. There's no way in the mentality of a human being that y'all don't want some payback for what y'all doing. So we must destroy you all in such a diabolical way, even though the government put these laws out and things. I'm going to share this on the screen. And I tell people, I say, you want to see how evil your government was. In 1862, Abraham Lincoln gave away about 1.6 million acres of land. This is prior to the Emancipation Proclamation. So he gave home ownership or land ownership to millions of people. Now, was this land, was it theirs to give because they had killed off all the Indians and everything? So they had basically taken the land. But the Indians did get a certain percentage. So in 1862, they gave away all this land to anybody that wanted to apply for the land. Then they were like, well, that wasn't enough. If you're looking at the screen, if you're on the Facebook side and you came over to the YouTube side at the No PC Show, all one word, then you can see what I'm showing on the screen. That's why it's so important that you all come over to this side and join us and participate in the chat and things like that. We would really appreciate it. So it says the first of the acts, there were like several different acts, but the first of the acts was called the Homestead Act of 1862. And it was open up millions of acres. Any adult who had never taken up arms against the federal government, meaning you didn't fight in wars against your country, could apply. This applied to women and immigrants. And it was supposed to apply to blacks also, but y'all not taking advantage of nothing. Even if you tried to take advantage of some of these programs, you was probably about to be lynched. Anything could get you lynched. There's another act. It was called the first Civil Rights Act was the Civil Rights Act of 1866, and you want to look at the section called Section 1981. And this is one of the section that Byron Allen is using now in his suit against Comcast and Charter. I think Charter is like a financial institution. And it says a federal law prohibiting discrimination on the basis of race, color, ethnicity when making and enforcing contracts. It does not prohibit discrimination on the basis of any other protected class. So, since the 1800s, there's been rules on the books that are supposed to help us when we're trying to get our rights. But as King said, probably a speech that everybody should look at is called "Two Americas" by Martin Luther King, and read the book called "Where Do We Go From Here" by Martin Luther King. And it gives you a mindset, and as we always say, Dr. King had a brilliant mind, and he had a brilliant philosophy that works when you're not dealing with the devil. The gains we made through the civil rights era, it didn't really cost the nation anything. And he says it didn't cost you nothing to integrate the lunch counters and integrate the schools and things like that, because you really didn't give us nothing. Separate and equal never really was separate and equal. The 1954 Desegregation Act, segregating the schools, didn't really help us. We had to fight everything that happened during slavery, Jim Crow years, was all designed to keep us in our place. You can't imprison somebody for 300 years and get money off of them for 300 years and then set them free to their demise and their destruction under you. There's often a big debate going on about education, and Byron Allen spoke on this. The only way you can fight these people in their system is with their tools. But there's a line from a movie that says they're going to give you the tools to destroy yourself, because they have the ability to move the goalposts. I worked in corporate America for 25, 26 years. And you get to see, when you're around these people, you get to see exactly what we're talking about with America. Now they look and say, well, we gave y'all Obama, and if he didn't do nothing for you, why would we do something for you? Which is true. We believe that President Obama, being a black man himself and kind of having some inkling of what it means to be black in America, we try to institute something that do something for black people. That legislation that just said for black people. So Byron Allen talks about a situation after they bailed out let's see, how much stuff did they bail out? I wrote it down. They bailed out the banks. They bailed out the auto industry. They wrote legislation for DACA for the immigrants. LGBT got backing. They got rid of Saddam, Gaddafi, and Bin Laden. This all happened during Obama's presidency. And yet, what happened for black folks? Don't give us the Obamacare thing. That was for everybody. What what in particular was directed just for us? So Byron Allen said, we were using it was a $700 billion bailout to bail out the banks. And when the banks started back putting their loans and things out, he found out that they were not loaning money to black folks at the same rate that they were loaning to other folks. So we had to understand during the housing crisis, a few things happened. A lot of black folks were losing their homes and didn't qualify for certain programs, and a lot of white folks who weren't as well off as the black folks did qualify for certain things. The black employment went up, and amazingly, white employment was going down. How does that work? I'll tell you how it works. Before Obama gets his presidency, I'm working in office. I'm the senior tech. Senior tech, no official title. It's just I'm the person that comes and does all the organizing and everything. So I'm at a senior tech level, right? White boy comes in. He's still in school. By the end of the Obama term, they've got the white boy come to tell me, well, now mind you, I've got 12 years seniority over him before he even gets to this place. Oh, well, they told me they want me to help you to become a senior tech because I've done all these things that they've asked, and I'm the senior tech. This is the type of stuff we're talking about. We keep participating in systems that are designed by them. They don't care about, you could be the smartest person in the world. What do I care about if I'm still your boss? I get to change everything. So they screwed us with the economics. They screwed us with the education. They convinced us that, oh, us giving you these loans and you paying us back money is a great thing for you. Why are black people paying for education in America? I don't get it. I really don't. Well, you guys should have asked for that back then. Well, we tried to ask for stuff, but then you start beating us and killing us and spraying us with hoses and sicking dogs on us and raping and pillaging and all that. Y'all missed that part, right? So we did want to do it. Okay, well, sorry. We ain't going to give y'all no money for education. You said you wanted to be Americans. You Americans now. Americans pay for education. It's too many of y'all out here in the world. Y'all might be trying to protest or something. Can we bring the judicial system in here? Let's lock some of these niggas up. It's impossible for us to be 14% of the continent's population, but 65% of the prison population. You used to be able to get degrees and things in jail. Not no more. They don't play that. These are corporate investments now. So it says the only way that you make it in our system is you capitulate to what we're putting out here, to what we're saying. This is our system. Where you going, nigga? You don't know nothing about Africa. We done took care of that. You don't know nothing about Africa. And Africans, you may know, you don't have a connection with them. You don't know no languages, no customs, nothing. Because you are nigga now. And this is how we've been operating in America. We America's niggas. If you don't capitulate to the system, what you gonna do? Well, we ain't left y'all some corruption and crime. And you can take those routes to get ahead. I mean, go ahead, destroy your own people to get ahead. sell drugs, shoot and kill each other. Now, don't get mad when we shoot and kill you, even if we shoot and kill you on TV and it's documented, because we over the Department of Justice also. And we going, again, our system, our rules. Oh, well, we did put one person in jail. Yeah, but then you let the other 4 cops walk away who lied and told a different story. Doesn't really add up to me. Are you niggas American or not? Make up y'all mind. Because Americans don't get reparation. Now, we gave y'all a black man that we handpicked ourselves. You can go out there and see the documentary yourself, where they looked at Obama and said, we can get about a good 2 terms out this nigga, and the people will be happy. And we know how niggas operate. They barely vote, and they don't understand politics, because the politics never work for them, or it works the way we want it to work for them. And this nigga here is going to toe the line and do everything we say. And we going to say we love him out in public. Been to a couple of meetings. I met Obama before he became the president and after he became the president. And I was present in the room when he was in the room and the white men were whispering to themselves, and when they called him a nigga when he left the room. I don't have to make up these stories. This is exactly what happened. I got questions for speaking to him. What are you and Mr. Obama talking about? Why? 2 black men can't have a conversation? Really? It's our fault. Obama is our fault. We were so happy because all our lives we heard, you ain't never going to see a black president. This was beaten into our psyche, our mindset. I can remember since I was a kid. In the 60s and 70s, oh, you ain't never going to see a black president. Then we saw a black president. And we were happy, and we were cheering in the street, and we were like, okay, it's about to get better for black people. Worst 8 years of my life is when Obama was in office. He told the line. Tavis Smiley came out against him. Cornel West came out against him. I tried to protect him that first term. I said, okay, that's good. The first 4 years, we know he going to have to deal with all types of bull crap. But the second 4 years, I did a show. I don't give a damn if you get impeached. Now it's the time for you to go in hard for black people. And it never happened. And him and Michelle were on TV the other day giving you these safe Negro quotes. You know, forget about being woke. You know, it's time to move on. Michelle was talking about racism. I can't do nothing with your racism. I forgot how she put it. But it was all a bunch of yah, because they said for life. Regardless of what we say and how we feel about it. If you talk to him, he'll tell you all these plans that they brought in where you can get more financial aid. More loans would be made available to you. Loans have to be paid back. They move some stuff around and over here and over here. So I don't really trust none of the politicians. Because what do we want to talk about? We want to talk about reparations. And if they're not talking about reparations, they're talking about stagnation. They're talking about staying in charge. They are so far ahead. And we talked about this. It would take 300-400 years for us to even catch up on any type of level. But they'll tell you, well, that's rich white people, black people. Yeah. I've got clients that have boats and live in nice homes and things like that, and I have to question them, and maybe that's just on me. Why would I want to live among these devils? I'm conscious of what goes on with them and how you have to capitulate to the system. You have to smile and get along with it. And I'm sure Byron Allen had to do a lot of this. He's married to a white woman. He's been married to her for over a decade. Just like the brother who gave all the money to those graduates. He's also married to a white woman. I don't know if they are using these white women as tools to make their way through the pyramid. Byron Allen tells a story of how he was trying to get all these news people or TV people to have a conversation with him. And they're like, nigga, we ain't messing with you. You always gonna be a nigga, Byron. We're not messing with you. But he met the one white man who was kind of over those people. And he decided, I'm going to do something nice. I wasn't raised that way. I'm going to invite all these people that keep telling Byron no. And I'm going to give them some yes. So he got brought into the system. Got put on. But how many of us are going to get put on? They don't care about individual success. I always say that individual success does not buck the system, because their success is group success. White folks run corporate America as a group. The Chinese people have a group. The Latinos have a group. Sometimes they pretend to team up with us, but a lot of times it's not really teaming up. It's we're going to get our stuff and then we're going to move over here. So we got to stop living in fear. We got to stop believing that these other people around us are on our side. They're not. And I know it's hard for everybody to believe it, and I know it's hard for people to believe it. But it's the truth. They're not trying to hear us or anything like that, as long as you're talking about getting ahead of them. Because it's some simple facts in life. Education doesn't stop racism. You having money doesn't stop racism. And you being religious doesn't stop racism. Not only do you not have the economic capital, but we don't have the social capital to overthrow this system. We got to get to a certain point of owning our own voices. And we can fight for our civil rights if that's what we want to do, integrate into a system. The reason you won't get reparations is, why would we give you reparations and then you're going to try to separate yourself from us and establish your own thing? I think we asked for land and stuff years ago. We were promised land. And some people got land and then they came back and took the land back. And they'll tell you, well, that was slavery. When the Industrial Revolutionary came, we bought these machines and we did all this. And we said, well, where'd you get that money from? How much money do you make off 300 years of slavery? So you can buy your machines. Well, my parents came over here on the boat. Okay, well, I missed the part where they were beat, where, white people were slaves too. Not in this country. Not in this country. Let's keep it America. A lot of people that came over here from those countries were criminals. And they came over here and they called them Italians and they called them Irish. And they band together with their people. I missed the part where the Irish were getting beat down in the street, and I missed the part where the Italians were getting beat down in the street. Oh yeah, the Japanese got locked up for a few months or whatever, and then you know what? They got checks, so they got reparation. And then they came out with the the civil rights in 1965, and then in 1966 they came out with the Immigration Act. And everything that we fought and got beat down for, they started freely giving to them with no consideration to our check hadn't been cashed yet. That was the whole premise of the March on Washington in 1863. We're walking to go get a check. We didn't get that check. When Martin started speaking out against the government policies, he got a bullet. Malcolm X fell out with the nation, and he was under surveillance. If you go to the FBI site, you can see all the paperwork where Hoover had put it out there to be on the lookout for a black messiah, anybody that could lead the people. And then that person would be marked for destruction. 4 Ds. If they can't dismiss you, now we got to discredit you. Well, Martin's not any type of leader. He's over here screwing this secretary chick over here and this chick over here. Malcolm's a damn criminal. Then they demonize you. Look, they're talking against America. They're talking against the country. They want to destroy America. Good old make America great again. That era. And once they set all that up, then it's easier for them to try to destroy you. I've been talking since I got on. Calling number is 872-267-2552. 872-267-2552. If anyone wants to call in and talk, we're a little bit over. Starting the new year, we may move this back to 8 o'clock so I can have time to get home and prepare a little more. And when I do this show, I do this show not to say let's war against America. I do this show to say let's band together. Let's get a different mindset. Let's not, I don't want no Negro saying go out and take out $200,000 worth of student loans so you can participate in the bull crap that we got to participate in to get nothing, to work 3 times as hard to get half of what they have individually. That's the whole process of education in America. You are being indoctrinated into what the society expects from you. And the black women are loving it. I don't need these niggas. I'm in control of my house. I raise my kids the way I want to raise them, put them in schools I want to raise them, put them in. And I show them what it means to be a good Negro in corporate America. And ain't nobody going to make me feel bad about being great in corporate America. Okay, well, sisters, that works. I worked in there for about 25 years, and I looked around. There was very few brothers that were executives, and then you can say executives, and I say executives with backbone, executives that spoke up. Most of the ones I saw in corporate America were not speaking up, were not carrying anything, and it was just shameful. But you can't speak up. You have to capitulate to the system. What I say all the time, white person comes to the job site, hey, Bob, come on in. Hey, everyone, this is Bob. He's great. I worked with him over at Chelsea's. We had a great time. Bring him in. Show him everything. Get the whole works. Let's get him acclimated. Your black ass shows up. What size shoe do you wear? What? Oh, you're going to be tap dancing, nigger. And you're going to have to find all the information yourself. We'll give you enough just to get you started, but not that so that you can get big-headed and think that you're running something or in charge of something or that your education means something to us. Because this is America. Don't let us catch you slipping. And if you don't like it over here, go on out there with your homeboys. Hang out with them. drink some 40s, smoke some weeds. We got this. I was at a meeting the other day, which was Wednesday, which was yesterday, for the South Shore community, and I'm just sitting there listening because I walk in and guess who's in charge of the meeting? Black neighborhood, but guess who's in charge of the meeting? I'll give you one guess. They are. And they start detailing the whole thing of what they want to do for this area, because this area is where the Obama Center is going to be. So they come in with the pretense of, I am the friend of the Negro. We want this community to be a great community, and we want to come in and diversify and put some new stores in here, and it's going to look great. We got the new sewer lines going in, and we're going to fix these streets. Now, your black ass been sitting over there for how many years complaining about the streets, the sewers, the condition of the stores, and you don't qualify for none of this money that they giving out, or they selected. And if you ain't smiling for the camera, you're probably not going to get this money. So you got to play the game wherever you go. And they come in, and they're already buying up stuff in South Shore. And they want to convert South Shore to something that they like. I tell people all the time, I said, my shop's been open, 15, 16 months over there. I've had one white client. When I would hand out my cards and my flyers, most of them just would turn it down. They wouldn't even look at it. Yeah, the Lincoln Park, Lincoln Yards. You should walk through Lincoln Park sometime. When I was working down there, it was amazing. And then Lori Lightfoot acts tough, but they were backing her for the mayor's desk. Okay, you guys gonna get this $90 million, but you're not gonna get anything else. Or was it $900 million? It was $90 million or something, that money that they got, but they're fighting the teachers. We'll take all this TIF money that's supposed to be for blighted areas where we've closed down 50 schools, got rid of a ton of black teachers, kicked all them to the curb, and doing all these dealings. I'm sure everybody's seen some of the stuff that's getting posted online. The Latinos are getting stuff that they asked for. The white folks are getting stuff they asked for. Black folks haven't really asked for anything except a wage increase. But they gave away, I thought it was like $900 million or something to redo the Lincoln Yards. Ridiculous. And we keep falling for this. So I was all for the teachers. Get what you can get. You got to have balls to play this game. Just like football, everybody's so frantic to get to Thursday night football. Screw them. They had the opportunity to shut the league down, and they didn't have the balls to do it. But that's what I say about white folks. I tell you one thing, they'll shut the country down. They don't give a damn. Because they probably going to be, during the shutdown, they ain't going to be the ones suffering as much. What they say, if white folks catch a cold, we got pneumonia. That's what's going on in the world. We can't be that morally ignorant. We can't be that so heavenly bound that we don't see what these people are doing. Because these same people do all this dirt, and then they go right to their God, which they act like it's two different gods. And they sing a hymn, and they put their tithes in the collection plate, and they go to the community meetings, and they donate some money, and they say, no, we're good white people. But the corporate structure is that the people at the top don't come down and discipline you. That's why they put them not so smart white people in the middle management and stuff. Let's put them in there so they can feel better, because they're going to oppress you so they can feel better about themselves. I work with people, and I looked at them like they was crazy. I was out of the ride 10 years before I showed up here. You guys are just starting to even read a computer book. You never seen a computer in your life, but you're the boss. So when they said, yeah, we're the boss, I just said, not the boss of me. And that's what it's going to have to take for us to get from under this. I play a clip at the beginning of the show, and at the end of the clip it says, Malcolm was saying, stop fighting, begging, and pleading with these people and build your own house. You can't build your own house inside their house. Our ancestors, they took all those licks and those beatings and things for us. We made a mistake. I think the nation had it right. We should have separated. Integration doesn't mean, like everybody says, well, integration. Integration doesn't mean make you equal. Integration means I'm going to give you just enough to survive, to give the appearance that we give a damn. And they don't. I mean, they don't. So I don't waste my time with a whole lot of politics. That's why it's called the No PC Show. I was recently asked about the Obama Center. I don't care about the Obama Center. I said, did they sign the Community Agreement Act? No, they didn't. I said, you want to know why they didn't sign it? Because I'm in the room with the dude, Brian Hopkins, the alderman, who's an alderman on the north side. What does he have to say about stuff happening on the south side of Chicago? You want to know what? He's the ringleader that sat in that room with the 70 other white people that stood up and said what type of stuff that they do, where they're going to get a piece of the pie, and they're going to get a piece of the pie. And then they tell you, we're going to give you 51% of stuff that's going on in your neighborhood, and you can't get 0% of what's going on in their neighborhoods. And we clap, and we stand up there like some goofies and accept it. Oh, well, we got 51%. We in charge. You ain't in charge of nothing, because as soon as you slip up, that 51% is going to become 49%. And then it's going to become 48%. And then it's going to become 40%. I don't have time to sit here and capitulate to the system that has destroyed us. So people may think I'm hard to get along with when it comes to our aldermen and people like this. No, I don't have time. Once I declare that you are on that side and you on that BS, that's where you're at, and that's how I'm going to deal with you. And I'm not going to worry about you not helping me, because you're not helping me no way. If you're helping them, you're not helping us. This is what black unity and black pride and everything means. If anybody wants a copy of the Willie Lynch letter, let me see if I can get this right. Right there. Hit me at the show 1965@yahoo.com, and I will send you a copy of the Willie Lynch letter. The other books we recommended: Where Do We Go From Here by Martin Luther King. We also recommended watching the video Two Americas by Martin Luther King, which is a great, it's a good speech, and a lot of stuff I'm saying you'll see there. If you didn't catch the Breakfast Club with Byron Allen on it today, it was a good interview. He gave a lot of information, but Byron's a millionaire now himself, a billionaire almost, if he isn't already one. So if we only have one or two people advocating for black people, and apparently this thing that they're going to be going through on November the 13th in front of the Supreme Court can affect us all, because one of the presidents that they have brought up is that 1866 Civil Rights Act, where now the civil rights of all black folks is in jeopardy, because that act was specifically for us. We gonna be America's niggers, or are we gonna be black people? I'm just gonna be black. I stopped saying American a long time ago. Does it make me unpatriotic? No, it makes me intelligent, because we're living in a country that we want to claim but treats us this way. Maybe they'll treat us different if we stop claiming them. Love, peace. So we out of here.
New York, Def Poetry, please give it up for Mr. Felipe Luciano.
There's a move afoot to divide us. It's being done by Afro-Saxons and coconuts. People who would have us believe that there's a separate gulf between two nations, black and Latino. This is not the poem, y'all. I'm telling you there's no difference between Beaufort, South Carolina and Ponce, Puerto Rico. You hear me? Too many of us grew up in the projects and did bids in the joint together to have anyone divide us on the basis of language. Mambo is black, merengue is black, R&B is black, joropo is black, flamenco is black, guaguancó is black, bomba is black. Be careful. They will come to you and say, be careful with those hordes of Spanish people. Fuck them. Jíbaro. Mi negro lindo, de los bosques de caña, caciques de luz, tiempo es una cosa cómica. Jíbaro, my pretty nigga. Father of my yearning for the soil, the land, the earth of my people. Father of the sweet smells of fruit in my mother's womb, the earth brown of my skin, the thoughts of freedom that butterfly through my insides. Jíbaro, my pretty nigga. Sweating bullets of blood and bedbugs, swaying slowly to a softly strummed 5-string guitar, remembering ancient empires of sun gods and black spirits and things that were once so simple. How times have changed men. How men have changed time. Unnatural, screams the wind. Unnatural. Jíbaro, my pretty nigga man. Fish smells and cane smells and fish smells and cane smells and tobacco and oppression makes even God smell foul. As foul as the bowels of the ship that vomited you up on the harbor of a cold metal city to die. No sun, no sand, no palm trees. And you clung to the slimy rib of an animal called the marine tiger in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Amen. Jíbaro, did you know you my nigga? I love the curve of your brow, the slant of your baby's eyes, the calves of your woman dancing. I dig you, you can't hide. I ride with you on subways. I touch shoulders with you and dance. I make crazy love to your daughter. Yeah! You my cold nigga man. And I love you because you mine. And I'll never let you go. I will never let you go. You mine, nigga. And I'll never let you go. Forget about self. We're together now. And I'll never let you go. Never, nigga.
Step out of the car.
Do I have the right to do that?
I do have the right. Now step out or I will remove
I
you.
refuse to talk to you other than to identify myself.
Now
If your woman ain't no revolutionary, she'll persuade you to be a fucking slave for the rest of your days. She'll be grooming you on how to behave, teaching you how to coon and buck dance so that you can be safe. If that brother ain't no rider, soldier, no provider, molder of young minds, check it out. You got yourself a bitch. Think about the time that you invested in him. If he's wearing them skinny jeans, you a lesbian. For every 100 black women who ain't locked up, it's only 83 black men remain. Take away 1.5 million black men who might have benefited their women and their children. You don't know a war when it's waged against you, when it makes you drive your baby mama to the clinic just to kill your own. Ain't no legacy to leave behind, cause ain't nobody sitting on your throne. You motherfuckers are asleep in a war zone, living a nightmare, dying what you got left. I'd rather die trying to fight for my last breath. Freedom or death, you asleep in a war zone. Living a nightmare, dying in your own home. If you don't fight, you gon' lose what you got left. I'd rather die trying to fight for my last breath. Freedom or death, nigga. Sandra Bland was a rider. She wouldn't have committed suicide. You a motherfucking liar. It would not be wise to stop when you hear sirens and you see the police behind you, but you don't wanna die. They gon' shoot you if you run. They gon' say that you was going for the police gun. That's why they shot you like 120 times, but you was still coming, so they put another bullet in your lung. Them devils got you praying while they murder, because they know you on that bullshit. They steady with them full clips and body armor. They kill your women in the street, cause they figure you too weak to do anything about it. You some shit, getting fucked in your sleep. They poison you every time you brush your teeth. You don't care, you behave like a slave. A bitch from the cradle to the grave, on your knees with your hands out, begging cause you wanna be motherfuckers are asleep in a war zone. Living a nightmare, dying in your own home. If you don't stop, you gon' lose what you got left. I'd rather die trying to fight for my last breath. Freedom or death, you asleep in a war zone. Living a nightmare, dying in your own home. If you don't fight, you gon' lose what you got left. I'd rather die trying to fight for my last breath. Freedom or death, nigga. Freedom or death, nigga. Fuck that. Freedom or death, nigga.
If you would just listen.
Freedom or death, nigga. Freedom or death, nigga. Freedom or death, nigga.
You were getting a warning. Until now, you're going to jail.
I'm getting it for what?